So this is our deck. So of course we're gonna start off with Katakuri. It's the main leader. Swing with him with one Dawn. Check the top of your opponent's life, top of yours. Check either one, and then you get to decide whether if you want to have it on the bottom or top, which is really nice because there's a lot of games that I've played against red decks that I've seen their one new gate and I just put it to the bottom and then they just tear it, and it's amazing. It's a good feeling. We played a full playset of Cracker. Very good in the blue matchups. He is good against Queen if he stays alive. Most of the time he doesn't. That's the sucky part. So, but if he ends up being there against Queen, he can put in some work because Queen can heal against us. He's very good to close out games against like Doflamingo, against Crocodile. Crocodile's kind of hard. And yeah, even if we bring him out too, if we bring him out against Rebecca, if they're more of an aggro player for sure, we can bring him out, punish them for it, hitting them with that double strike, and most of the time they have to counter from hand. They don't have any events to give them that plus like 2k plus 4k. So yeah, Cracker's very good. Plus getting that trigger of getting that body on the board for free essentially, well, discarding a card. It's really good. Full playset of Pudding. It's the main search on the deck. The only card you cannot search out is Beige. I think that's about it. I think Beige and Shirahoshi. But besides that, it can search out Sanji, it can search out everybody else because they're Big Mom Pirates. It's a good one drop, so that's why we play it. Then we play Charlotte Parasparrow. Very good card. I feel like this is annoying for our opponents to deal with sometimes. Not to deal with, but yeah, to deal with. Because a lot of times they don't want to KO it, want us to get that searching effect, but we do, and it's very nice. It's a very ridiculous card to just be a 3-drop with 5k power, and with a searching ability on KO, and with a trigger ability to come out into play from life by discarding a card. So good. We definitely run this as a playset, even though it has no counter power on it. That's the only sucky thing about it. For sure run a full playset of Charlotte Linlin, the 10-drop Big Mom. You make your opponent trash one of their lives, you heal one. It's so good. She's a 12k body, which is insane. That 12k body has put in so much work. So yeah, it's very good. You have to play a playset of this. In my opinion, in any yellow deck, that's a Big Mom Pirates, because your leader does have to be a Big Mom Pirate, so sorry Yamato, sad day. I would play a playset of this card hands down, so good. We do run Strucin. Have I ever used its ability or its effect in any game? No, not really. It's a good effect, but still it's not that good to discard a card to pop a one drop or less. We just have it there for a 2k. It's not bad, but if we ever do need it, it is there because we do have a hard time against the aggro matchups. 2 Shirahoshi. This card's broken, in my opinion. When it comes out of life, get that graceful charity effect. Just feel pleasant. Yeah, get that draw 3, discard 2. So good. Then we run 3 Charlotte Katakuris. On play, you choose any character on board that's an 8 cost or less, put it on the top or bottom of their owner's life. Super good card. You match it up with Shirahoshi, and you're literally just plussing from that. It's really nice. Just digging into your deck for the cards you want. It's an awesome card. I used to run it as a full playset. It's a little bit too much. A full playset, there's some games that I would just have get hands. There's some games that it does help to have a full playset because you can start throwing stuff into their life, and then if you haven't used too many 10-drop Big Moms, you can start bringing them out to make them trash their life. But still, I would run it as a 3. I think 3 is a perfect number. Even 2. 2 is still pretty good in my opinion. I used to run it at 2 a long time ago. In real life, I run it at 2. Now I run it at 3. But 2 is always good in my opinion. It's not too bad. And yeah, I would not go back to 4 for sure. It's just too cloggy. You lose games just for having no counter power in hand. We run 4 Beige. Beige has an awesome trigger effect that says you can choose up to one of your opponent's leaders or character cards and they cannot attack during this turn. And he's a 2k counter, which is really nice. Second thing is he's not searchable. That's not too bad. Just for the fact that I don't know why, but almost like in all my starting hands, I always have like 2 or 1 of him. So he's always in my hand. Even though we don't want him there, we want him in life. Yeah, but I have won some games just off of that trigger effect. And yeah, it's really nice. Run a full playset of Sanji. Dope card. Blocker. It's a 5k power, which is really nice. So if you ever want to be aggressive with it, I have won games just because of that. Just because he's an additional attacker that I don't have to feed Dawn into, so it can land a hit on my opponent's leader. And he also has you can play him from life with a trigger effect by discarding 1 card. It's very good. And he has a 1k counter power. Very important. It's very nice to have. in this deck you start noticing you run a lot of big drops and they don't have counter power, so it does suck. Ooh, Charlotte Amada. It's a 2K. It's a 2K counter, which is nice. You can go ahead and trash one card with trigger from your hand to rest one of your opponent's character cards are 2 or less. Very good against red. This card is so good against Zoro, but it kind of does depend on how your hand looks like, because half of our deck has trigger and then the other half feels like it doesn't. Our higher end cards, our higher end drops do not have trigger, and yeah, so anything that's like basically 6 drop or higher, no trigger effect. Some of our other cards too, like our Charlotte. So yeah, Strucin doesn't have a trigger in life, which sucks. If there was another 2K that's searchable for Big Mom Pirates that has a trigger in life, I'll definitely switch them out for Strucin. That can help a lot. Just because you'd rather keep a hand with her, just so you can start resting. I have used this card against. So our bad matchups. Another bad matchup is like Zoro's 50-50. Law is, I'll say it's like 70-40. It's majority Law. I'm not gonna lie, but if you have this card actually gives you a chance to win. Start off with this card on my turn 3, start resting his blocker, start resting his searcher, start running into them. And that way you focus on his field. He did not use his leader effect, I think maybe only once the entire game, but I didn't get into my late game big drops, which suck. But if I did, totally different story. But that's what you want to do. Swing into their characters, try and maintain board state. That way you can bring out your big drops later on, and then they can have the real impact on your opponent's life. And it's pretty nice that you can activate this right away when you bring it out, and you don't have to rest it, which I think is totally dope. And it's a 3K, so it's not too bad. So we run a full playset, and then we also run a full playset of Charlotte Parasparrow, the 6 drop, just because it's a 6 drop, 8K vanilla, 1K counter. It's very nice to have. The 8K is pretty relevant. It does get hit by a lot of removal. Yeah, it does. It get hit. It just, yeah, that's the only sucky thing. A lot of cards can hit like 7 costs and less. This is 6 costs, so yeah, it does suck. But having an 8K body, which is really nice to have, helps out a lot and goes a long way too, especially against the Doflamingo decks, because their Luffy is 7K and then the rest of the deck are basically like less than 7K, except for Doflamingo himself. So 8K actually helps a lot. I run a full playset of Charlotte Brûlée, 1K counter, which is nice, and it's a blocker, trigger, play from life, don't have to discard a card. Awesome effect. I have played games where I have just spammed this card on board because I just kept on drawing into them. Then I played my 8-cost Katakuri just to shove them back into life, and it just annoys your opponent because your opponent's just like, great, now I have to deal with it. Get the trigger in life coming back. If they don't have no way to trash cards from your life, they're going to have to deal with the Brûlée again. So we run a full playset. It's a very nice card. Plus, it's a trigger effect. And we run 2 Charlotte Linden. I'm debating whether to cut 1 Parasparrow 6 drop for Charlotte Linden, but then that's less 1K counter in this deck. But Charlotte Linden's very good. Essentially, if we have more life, our opponent's literally just going to give us an extra one then because they're at less life. If they're at more life, they're just going to trash the top card of their life just because they can and they can afford it. It is an 8 drop, which is really nice. That's why when you run at 2. I would like to run at 3, but it just sucks when you just play it so later in the game where your opponent has no life and you just play and they're like, yeah, I'll trash 1 card from my, from my life because I had no cards there. So yeah, that's the only sucky part. That's why we only run at 2. And we run 3 Thunderbolts. Very awesome card. Takes rid of the 5 drops. Very good against Law. Rebecca when we need to. Doflamingo. And it's not bad against Vivi as well. It's also good in Nami decks, going against Nami, just because Nami usually has Zeph. He's a 5K, so it works out perfectly. This triggering Alpha Life is amazing as well. And that's the deck. As you can tell, there's like 13 cards with no counter power, which does suck. That does add up after a while, and you start feeling it too. When games without Shirahoshi proccing off, you start feeling it just because if you keep on drawing into your big drops, and you keep slamming them down, it helps when it's Big Mom because you heal one, but the thing is, it kind of sucks if all you're healing is your other big drops and you draw into them from your life. You get no trigger power, and yeah, it's a sucky feeling. Or you get no counter power. Keep on saying trigger power. You get no counter power, and that's a sucky feeling. And that's why in this deck we run a full 12 2K counters, just because it's very important. Having 2K counters helps out so much. For the mirror match, you want to go second just because you can slap down Big Mom first. It's such a good thing to do. And we don't pop characters against black, only with Thunderbolt, of course, but there's only 2 cards we can't pop, which is Borsellino and Fukuro. So that's not too bad whatsoever. Everything else you can pop is pop those Kuzans. Do not, and I repeat, do not let any 4-drop Kuzan stay on their board, because that is one of their main cards at minus your cost. And that's how they can have a good chance to take out Charlotte Linen. That and the 10-drop, of course, but by the time they bring out their 10-drop, they can't really afford it, especially if you go second. That way, you heal, they bring out the 10-drop, they pop something that's 5k or less, or 5 cost or less, which by the late game, you're going to have at least another Charlotte, you're going to have a Charlotte Katakuri, or a Charlotte Linlin, another big monster 10-drop, and then on your 10th turn, you're going to pop out the 10-drop. So you're going to have 2 big bodies on board already, and you're already pressuring them for life. You're already seeing what there is in their life. It's really good. So it's against that matchup, you're pretty favorable. And yeah, that's the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed it. In real life, this is kind of a pricey deck just because of the Katakuris. They range anywhere from like 32 to 42 all the time. And besides that, I believe Sanji's going for like probably 5, Beige is going for like $1 or 2. So is the other 2k counter. Everything else is pretty cheap in the deck. Charlotte Linlin's 10-drop is pretty cheap. So yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoy this, and until I see you next time, peace.